from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lapis.
Henrico officials are frustrated by some recent changes in the state's allocation of COVID-19 vaccines, and good news for state entertainment venues. We'll have details coming up on today's Henrico News Minute for Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. It's brought to you today by Henrico County.
And now for the news.
Henrico officials are frustrated that state health leaders apparently are prioritizing COVID-19 vaccine doses for 4 new strategically located state-run mass vaccination sites ahead of the one that the county has been operating itself for months at Richmond Raceway. They are also upset that localities that already have entered Phase 1C of the vaccination process are now receiving more doses proportionate to their populations than Henrico is receiving in relation to its, even as the county continues to lead the state's 10 largest localities in vaccine doses administered, with more than 25,000 for every 100,000 citizens. Those frustrations became evident in a public way yesterday during a Board of Supervisors meeting, hours after county officials had conveyed similar concerns in interviews with the Citizen. Their chief complaint is that the 2 actions by the state will delay Henrico's vaccination process needlessly, making it more difficult to inoculate the tens of thousands of county residents who remain in Phases 1A and 1B, and cause more delays advancing to Phases 1C and 2. Henrico, officials said, already has proven that it can effectively manage the vaccination process more efficiently than any other state locality. The Raceway was Virginia's first mass vaccination site, is its longest running one, and has already administered more doses in a single day than any other site in Virginia. That was more than 7,000 just last week on a single day. But state officials, who have held press conferences at the Raceway several times to highlight its efficiencies, did not include the site in their initial group of community vaccination centers, which are designed to quickly and efficiently vaccinate large numbers of people in areas most affected by the virus. Those 4 initial CVCs in Petersburg, Prince William, Danville, and Portsmouth opened recently. They're funded by the state and manned by contractors. Each is now receiving as many as 18,000 weekly doses of vaccine. Meanwhile, Henrico is paying for the operations at the Raceway itself and vaccinating not only county residents there, but also those from several neighboring jurisdictions as well, using doses provided by those localities. Said 3CHOP Supervisor Tommy Brandon last night, quote, "We have shown we can do it. We have the capability to do it. We're not asking for state funds to do it. Give us the shots, period. I don't understand where the state gets confused with that," end quote. County Manager John Vitolkis said he will set up a call with state officials, including Vaccine Coordinator Danny Avula, who's also the county's health director, in the coming days. 9 new COVID-19 cases in Henrico's public schools have sent 60 more people into quarantine. That's according to data released yesterday by the school system. The new cases increased to 64, the total number reported in schools or during extracurricular or sporting activities since schools began returning in person on a staggered basis February 22nd. A total of 608 people have entered quarantine as a result of close contact with those cases. Among the new cases reported yesterday, all of which occurred in school, was 1 at Laburnum Elementary that led to 20 quarantines, 1 at Echo Lake Elementary that prompted 16, 2 at Skipwith Elementary that prompted 16, and 1 at Springfield Park that led to 8 people quarantining. Other single cases were confirmed at Adams, Harvey, Ridge, and Seven Pines Elementaries, but did not require anyone to quarantine. Good news yesterday for some sports and entertainment venues in Virginia, as well as other groups that will now be able to host more visitors and larger gatherings beginning April 1st. Governor Ralph Northam amended an earlier executive order yesterday. It will now allow more people to gather in social groups, increasing from 10 to 50 the number allowed at indoor events, and 25 to 100 allowed at outdoor events beginning April 1st. Also, all indoor and outdoor entertainment and public amusement venues must continue to operate at 30% capacity, Northam said, but indoor venues now may have a minimum of 500 people, an increase from the current level of 250. while outdoor venues will have no cap on the total number as long as it does not exceed that 30% threshold. Outdoor venues are currently capped at 1,000 people or 30%, whichever number is lower. Northam also is expanding the number of spectators allowed at recreational sporting events from 25 to 100 people per field or 30% capacity, whichever is less, for indoor settings, and from 250 to 500 people per field or 30% capacity, whichever is less, for outdoor settings. Yesterday, he also formalized last week's preliminary announcement related to graduation ceremonies, which will be permitted to host as many as 5,000 people outdoors, or 30% of capacity, whichever is less, and as many as 100 people indoors, or 30% of capacity, whichever is less. All attendees must wear masks and follow other guidelines. Also yesterday, Northam signed another executive order that is aimed at reducing the state's reliance upon single-use plastics, which pollute waterways and harm fish and wildlife, as well as take up space in landfills. The order puts the state on a path to eliminate most single-use plastics at state agencies, colleges, and universities by imposing a near-term ban on several common disposable plastics and requiring the phase-out of other items by 2025. Northam made the announcement during the 31st Annual Environment Virginia Symposium at VMI. It requires all executive branch state agencies to discontinue buying, selling, or distributing items such as disposable plastic bags, single-use plastic and polystyrene food service containers, plastic straws and cutlery, and single-use plastic water bottles within 120 days. There are near-term exemptions for items necessary for medical, public health, or public safety uses, and longer-term ones for medical and emergency applications. State agencies then will be required to develop plans to phase out all non-medical single-use plastic and expanded polystyrene objects by 2025. Today's Henrico News Minute has been brought to you by Henrico County's COVID-19 Emergency Rental Assistance, providing assistance for those who have experienced economic impact related to the virus, such as job loss or furlough. Applications are available at henrico.us/DSS or by calling 501-5294.